You see, this is why failure is more important than success, because if that Mummy reboot had succeeded and it had launched the Dark Universe as it was intended to, we probably never would have gotten to see what would happen if Nick Cage, and all Nick Cage is, went splat with Count Dracula. So Renfield's directed by Chris McKay, stars Nicholas Hoult as Renfield, who is Dracula's familiar. Nicolas Cage plays Count Dracula, and this movie is a bloody dark comedy / allegory about getting out of toxic relationships with narcissists.
Okay, obviously we're dealing with a little bit more than just narcissism here.
And half of this movie is exactly what the trailer pitches and promises you, which is exactly what works. Renfield and Dracula, that whole dynamic, it's pretty awesome. When I heard Nicolas Cage was playing Dracula in this movie before I saw the trailer, I was like, that's one of those calls. Either someone knows exactly what they're doing or they are so far off the mark. Happy to say, it absolutely works. It works for the tone of it wouldn't work for any movie if you plopped Nicolas Cage Dracula in Bram Stoker's Dracula. No. But for a hyper-violent, bloody, dark comedy in which Nicolas Cage can just be unhinged and be that which we know to be Nick Cage, also, Dracula version of him. It totally works. As we all know, there's only one Nick Cage. And so this is the only person who can ever play Dracula like this and actually have it work. The big bummer is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent came out last year. If it had come out after this movie came out, they'd have a lot more to play with. Nicholas Hoult's also great in this movie. I feel like in these past years, we've seen Nicholas Hoult either get better at his comedic timing or get roles in which he can better articulate it and show it on screen. It also has a bit of a superhero angle in there. He eats bugs, and that's how he gets the powers that Dracula's given him, in which case he can completely annihilate people, and by annihilate them, I mean punch their heads off, rip their arms off. I was baffled every now and then when ass and blood just shoots everywhere, and it's like a couple drops just hit the person that did it or the person that's 2 feet from the body that exploded. And I was like, the CGI blood has to become real blood on the people for the next shot, you know. They're like, I knew we forgot something. There is something amazing about blood and gore that goes together with comedy so well. I won't say like peanut butter and jelly. It's not that commonplace, but definitely peanut butter and honey. It's that delicious. The action sequences, they were great, exciting, bloody fun, absolutely. And I feel like the allegory, the relationship between Renfield and Dracula, and Renfield trying to break away, but Dracula being a narcissist, that's what's gonna hit people. If they get hooked with this movie, that's the hook. It's actually really well done with characters that are perfect allegory for that. That said, that's half the movie. There's another movie wrapped into this movie that makes you go like, where did this come from? No one cares. And it has to deal with Awkwafina's character playing this cop in this precinct. They're corrupt cops and she's trying to take down this mob family. I'm telling you, it feels like someone was like, yeah, I'm working on a script right now for a movie I call Renfield. We're trying to get Nick Cage to play Dracula. Don't worry, it should work. It'll be a violent, dark comedy / allegory about toxic relationships. It'll have superhero elements. You know, Renfield will eat bugs, he'll get powers and totally obliterate baddies. I only have 45 minutes of script written now, so don't quite know what to do with it. Why, that sounds amazing to me. Let me know how that goes. I'm working on a script right now, too. We're trying to get Awkwafina for the role. She's this nice cop in a precinct full of crooked cops. She doesn't know who to trust. Her father was killed on duty by these mobsters, so she's trying to take down these mobsters who deal coke. Don't have a title yet, but I call it Coke Dex. You know, D-I-C-S, as in detectives in charge. And it's a working title anyway, but I only have 45 minutes of the script written, so I don't know what to do with it either. Wait a minute. I have 45 minutes. I have 45 minutes. By the power of math! We combine these two into one 90-minute film! Boom! It feels like that is exactly what happened. This movie feels like two movies. And one of these movies is really compelling. The other one probably could have been as its own movie. In a Renfield Dracula movie, it just feels out of place. Granted, in any vampire or Dracula movie, you're gonna have people that aren't supernatural, and they're just kind of peering into this situation as to what's going on. I get Renfield getting a friend, absolutely, but to bring the precinct and these mobsters into the story, in that Renfield kind of feels like the Warcraft movie for me, where I'm like, half of that movie was great. The other half I did not care about. Only instead of the great half being the orcs, it's the Dracula Renfield element. In the end, when this movie was a bloody good time, it was. When it was funny, the audience was laughing. Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult have an amazing dynamic, and if anyone buys a ticket just to see Nick Cage play Dracula the way he does, I would not fault them. The movie started out amazing, but as it kept going, I felt the momentum just got compromised with this other movie within the movie that I just didn't care about. I feel like this movie would be a better time with a bit of the sacrament. Yes, now it's a party. All right, so Renfield, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more. Boom! Fuck, I gotta pick those up for the next shot.